Welcome to Golf for Beginners podcast. If you have just started playing golf and you really want to understand the underlying principles of a solid golf swing, well, I promise you this episode is for you.
Welcome to the Golf for Beginners podcast, your essential guide to mastering golf fundamentals. Whether you're a beginner golfer or a seasoned player looking to refine the basics, join us as we teach you everything about the fundamentals of swing technique, course management, equipment, rules, and how to practice. Today's host is none other than the award-winning PGA golf instructor Nikolaj Setti Engström, CEO of the biggest golf teaching business in Denmark and founder of Golf for Beginners Academy.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Golf for Beginners podcast. My name is Nikolaj. I'm a PGA golf instructor from Denmark, and I am the founder of Golf for Beginners Academy, and I am here today to explain to you the underlying principles of a solid golf swing. And what exactly do I mean by that? Well, the golf swing is actually a lot of geometry. So if you like circles and distances and stuff like that, that is a really good way of understanding why you need to move your body in certain ways in order to hit the golf ball solidly every time. So let's get started right away. This, of course, would be a little bit easier to explain if it was on video, where I could, draw some lines and circles on a piece of paper or something. But let's try and do it on podcast. It should definitely be possible. So I want you to think of a golf swing, and you're looking at a golf player. You're standing in front of the golf player, looking at him from the front view. Okay, that is where we're gonna see the golf swing from in the next few minutes. I want you to imagine that when this golf player, he or she swings the golf club, the club head of the golf club is creating a circle. Okay. In the real world, it is not really a 100% circle, but just think of it as a circle. When you come back, boom, and then you come down, circle, hitting the ball, circle, and then you follow through, also circle. So the golf swing is a circle. That is what I need you to think of first. Okay, we have the circle. On the circle, the lowest part of the circle, so the bottom of the circle, let's call that the low point. So basically where the circle does not move up or down, but where it's actually completely flat in the bottom of the circle. That is going to be called the low point. Okay? Now, this low point needs to be after the golf ball. So after the player would have hit the golf ball. That is where this lowest point of the circle needs to be. Okay? That would usually be, if it's a right-handed player, that would usually be under the player's left shoulder. So if you draw a straight line from the left shoulder down to the ground, that should be where the lowest point of the circle is. And this is also the place where we would like the club to meet the ground. Okay, this is extremely important to understand for a beginner, that you will need to hit the ball first, and then after you hit the ball, that is when the club needs to hit the ground. And the club actually needs to hit the ground, unless you're hitting a drive or something else, but for iron shots, the club needs to hit the ground. Okay, that is how we make sure that we hit the ball first, because the club is traveling in a downwards angle. So then you hit the ball first, and then you hit the ground afterwards. Very, very important. And this low point where the club meets the ground, that should be after the golf ball, which will be under the left shoulder of the player. Okay, there we go. So we have the circle, we have the low point. Low point is after the golf ball. Now, how do we move our body in order to make sure that the lowest point will be after the golf ball? And, so we don't move the low point. We could move the low point up too high, so the low point doesn't even reach the ball. We could move the low point, in the other side of the ball, so you would hit the ground too early in front of the ball. So we need to make sure that this low point doesn't move. And how do we do that? Well, we have the circle. When we have a circle, we have a centrum. In the golf swing, we like to talk of the head, of the golf player's head, as being the centrum of the swing circle. Okay, so again, imagine you're looking at the golf player from the front view. He or she is doing a swing. You have the circle. The low point is under the left shoulder. That's where the club should meet the ground. Everything is good now in the setup. If the player during the swing moves the head to one side, then that will cause the whole swing circle to move, which will also cause the low point to move. Because if you move the centrum of the circle, of course the circle is going to follow. That is why you will see all the best players in the world. They will make sure that their head is not moving too much from side to side during the swing. They will not be moving their head too much up and down. Because if they do that, it is really difficult to control where the low point of the golf swing is. Okay, so one of the most fundamental things of the golf swing is to make sure that the centrum of the swing circle is not moving around, which means keeping your head in very much the same position during the backswing and downswing. How do we do that then? Because that is actually not so easy, because we want to swing the club back and we want to rotate our body so we can generate some speed. But how do we do that without moving our head? Well, there's 3 different movements of the body you need to do in the backswing in order to swing the club back, but without moving your head. You need to rotate your body, obviously. That is what brings the club further back. So rotation, but you need to also, we're standing bent forward in the setup. That forward bend, actually, you need to extend your body. So rotation, extension, and then you actually also, if you're a right-handed player, you need to tilt your upper body to the left. So that is basically the left shoulder moving closer towards the ground. If you combine the rotation, the extension, and the left tilt, if you combine those at the right time with the right amount, you can actually rotate your body a whole lot, which means you can get your club a long distance back without moving your head at all in the backswing. And that is what we are going for. So then you keep the centrum of the swing circle in the same position, which means the low point is where it should be. So that is the number 1 factor, I would say, in order to have a solid golf swing. Don't move your head from side to side or up and down in the backswing or downswing. There is one more factor in this circle that we talked about. Now we have the centrum. We also need to talk about the radius. So the radius would be the distance from the centrum out to the edge of the circle. And we usually like to talk about this radius distance as being the distance from the player's left shoulder, if it's a right-handed player, down to the golf ball. So that distance. Yes, that distance, we need to make sure we don't shorten that or make it longer also during this swing. So of course we want to have a pretty straight left arm in the setup. And then if you let's just say during the backswing, that you really bend your left arm a lot. Again, you're a right-handed player. So you bend your left arm and then you swing down towards the ball with a bent left arm. Now you have made the radius of the swing circle shorter. And if you shorten the radius, that means that your club head will not reach the ball anymore. You have raised the club head off the ground because you shorten the radius. Now you're not going to be able to hit the ball well anymore. That is why it is extremely important that you keep your left arm straight in the setup, in the backswing, in the downswing. When you hit the ball, the left arm should be straight, and it should actually also be straight a good amount of time after you hit the golf ball. That is the very, very important factor as well, because then you can keep the radius of the swing circle at the same distance all the time. And there you have it. Think of the golf swing as a circle. The low point should be after the golf ball, so you can hit the golf ball first and then the ground afterwards. In order to not move this low point, you need to not move your swing circle. The center of the swing circle is the head. If your head is moving all over the place from side to side and up and down, you're moving the swing circle, which means you're moving the low point, which means you will never hit the ball consistently. You also need to make sure that the radius of this swing circle stays the same. That's why you need to keep your left arm straight in the backswing and in the downswing and in the follow through. And there you have it. That was the underlying principles of a solid golf swing. I hope this little picture I was trying to paint in your head made sense with the circle and the low point, because if you learn to think in those terms, you're actually going to be able to fix many issues on your own. A very good thing to do is to bring out your phone when you're practicing on the driving range. Take a few videos, and then it's actually quite easy to see if your head is moving all over the place or if your left arm is bending in the backswing and the downswing. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it made sense, first of all, and I hope that you maybe learned some stuff and that you're looking at the golf swing in a bit of a different way now. And I just want to wish you all the best luck out there on the driving range and on the golf course with your golfing journey. I hope you enjoyed. If you want more help, you're always welcome to jump over to golfforbeginners.academy. There's a bunch of free articles and videos. And we also are to find on different social media channels and also on YouTube, where we also explain a bunch of this stuff in video format. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you for tuning in to another insightful episode of the Golf for Beginners podcast. We hope you found valuable tips and inspiration to enhance your golf journey. Remember, whether you're a novice or a seasoned player, there's always room for improvement. For more in-depth resources, tutorials, and a supportive community, head over to our website at golfforbeginners.academy. There, you'll find a wealth of information to elevate your game. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your fellow golf enthusiasts. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and enjoy this lovely game.